Welcome to the Mayor's Show. As always, we have a very informative information for everybody watching today. This is something to do with veterans, and you know how I am with veterans. Our building's named after veterans here. And this is called the Quilts of Valor. And they're going to tell you all about it. I've been at their function where they give out the quilts to veterans. It's a very emotional ceremony when they do this, and both of you, I welcome both of you, Judi Biederman, right?
Yes.
Judi's here with us today, and the Daughters of American Revolution. I think you're all involved with that too. Am
Yes.
I correct?
Yes.
And to my right is Jennifer Wise. Jennifer's here, and we're going to try to give you all the information. They will. I attended the ceremonies, what they do, and it's really something of what they do. And 2 years in a row, they've been here in Bensalem. And actually up my old farm, the building up there, the senior house right there is where they did it this year. And it was, again, it was very emotional.
It was.
Of what you do. So I guess I'll lead off with you, Jennifer. You want to start out? Tell us a little bit, give us some background.
So Quilts of Valor is a foundation where we honor veterans who have been touched by war. It's started from a woman whose son was in Iraq, and she wanted to do something to help them understand that they weren't being missed, that they were loved, and that everybody at home was still thinking about them. So she started making quilts, and it kind of went from there.
And the organization, is that lady with the organization that
I
started?
believe so, isn't she?
I think so.
Judi?
Her name, Catherine Roberts, and like Jen said, her son was deployed to Iraq. She actually had a dream that somebody was hurt, and a quilt had offered a message of healing and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And from that dream, she asked people to help her make that kind of a quilt. And that was in 2003. And since then, the organization just took off. And since 2003, more than 300,000 quilts have been made
Oh, wow.
and bestowed to veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And just a little bit on that, either one of you can answer it. Tell them how you present that to the veterans. And I know you do it one at a time. And like I said, it's very emotional. And if you'd have seen, there were 4 veterans the day I was there, and the emotion on the veterans was unbelievable to see tears come out of their eyes.
It is very emotional, and it depends on the veteran and how emotional they get. When you were there, the first gentleman we gave it to, he just broke down. I don't think there was a dry eye in the place. It means so much to them. So what we do is when we go in, we have a speech prepared. We explain what Quilts of Valor is, and then we go from there. We explain who the vet is that we're honoring. We give a little bit of background on their history, and then we 2 of us will stand there and present the quilt. They get to see it, and then we basically come around. We wrap it around them, and as we wrap it, we're like, "This is a hug from the nation, and thank you for your service." And then at that point, we go on to the next person if there's multiple people. Sometimes we'll ask if anybody would like to add something to the story. So there might be members of the family or friends there that might have some more additional stories. And you find out a lot of interesting things about these men.
Yeah. Now, how are the quilts? Who makes them?
So the quilts are made by our group. We are a very new chapter of the National Quilts of Valor organization. We're less than a year old, just started in the very beginning of 2023. So we started off with 6 quilters and Jennifer, who is our business manager. There's a lot of paperwork involved in something like this. Unfortunately, one of our members has passed away, so we are down to 5 quilters and Jennifer.
You can see how large these quilts are. And they're absolutely, no 2 are alike. Am I right?
That's correct.
None of them are alike. Quickly show them a different one. Do you have another one? We're trying to make you understand what they do here, because a lot of work goes into this to make sure the veterans. And you can see every pattern is different. Look at that. That's magnificent. Wow. So continue your thought. So they're made?
So we get together, we discuss the fabric that we're going to use. We're always looking for sales, to get a good quantity of fabric. And then we assign things out. So we'll assign, say, a quilt block, and maybe I'll get an assignment to make 10 quilt blocks. Somebody else in the group, 10 quilt blocks. And then the second level of assignments will be somebody to put those blocks together.
Sew
The
them
third
together?
level, yes. Everything is,
Literally sew them together?
Yes.
we do sew them together. Everything is done by machine because these quilts, we want them to be very durable and usable. We want them to be able to go right in the washing machine and dryer if necessary. So everything is machine sewn.
Are they all the same size?
The Quilts of Valor does have specifications that it needs to be at least 64 by 80. And we try to make them at least that. Sometimes they're a little bigger depending on the pattern and how the blocks come together.
Now, how do you, in other words, the material, I'm just a little lost in this today. The material in the blocks, how do you, where do you, the material is already dyed and
We'll
the
buy,
designs are on there and everything?
Yes, well, when we go looking for fabric, we look at like designs that you can buy. Sometimes though, it could just be red, white, and blue. Some will have stars on them. So we pick what we think we like, and then when you're sitting there trying to figure, you're planning out the quilt, you'll sit there and say, okay, which ones do we think are gonna look good with this pattern? And then we'll set aside a bunch. That person who's planning the quilt out will then go and like lay it out, see how each piece is going to fit into the quilt, and then that's how it's built out.
Okay, and how long does it take to do a quilt?
I think on average, we're told it's like 6 to 18 months to get one.
One quilt?
One quilt, but for us, like. If you're in the system as a nominee, we tell them it'll be 6 to 18 months before you will get
okay.
one. In the meantime, we're already building them, but it depends on how many people might be
I
ahead of
see.
you. So I think we could probably do a quilt in 3 months.
It
3-4
depends.
months,
It depends
depending on
on
the pattern.
whatever's going on in our lives.
Yes.
We all have vacations to go on, families to take care of.
Some work.
So it depends. We can actually get a quilt together pretty quickly if necessary. We could probably
So
do
you don't
it.
have an inventory?
Oh, no.
No, we don't, because we're
No.
just too new. We're
I
less
got that simultaneously there.
less than a year old. But in that time, since I would say February 2023, we have been able to make 6 quilts, 6 full quilts.
Okay, so the organization, you're telling me how many of you?
There's 6 total in our little
In your
group.
group?
Yes,
And your group's called The Crossing?
the crossing.
The Crossing.
See, I got it right.
And we're the only group in Bucks County.
Yes.
So,
The only group in Bucks County.
we get nominations from our national organization, and that I do want to talk about that. If people are interested in nominating somebody, you would go to the Quilts of Valor Foundation website, and it's QOVF.org. And you can nominate someone there, and it should be a veteran who has been touched by combat. Those are the qualifications. And you fill out that form online, and then the Quilts of Valor Foundation reviews them, and then the Quilts of Valor Foundation assigns them out to the different local groups. Our group covers Bucks County, and in fact, we're the only Quilts of Valor group in Bucks County.
Now, do you look for more members? I don't know.
We've been looking at trying to get more people involved. It just depends on how, I guess, what their skill levels are and how we can incorporate them. It might be, if they're good enough, we can have them just cut pieces out if they, like I'm not a sewer. So I was able to do like the business side of it for them. So we're always looking for additional
So,
people.
yeah.
And we've had members of the public who have actually donated like blocks to us. And it's nice to know they do that. We've even had them donate full quilts.
That's correct.
Wow.
And sometimes we'll get an assignment from the national organization, and because we're such a new group and we don't have a backlog of quilts yet, we'll have to say to them, we would be more than happy to give a quilt out, but we don't have one. So in some cases, the national organization has provided us with a quilt, and then we represent them and are very happy to go and give the quilt to the
And
veteran.
present it.
One thing, you know, we talked before about emotions, and I want to talk about it's not just emotions on the part of the veteran, it's on our part as well. We all get very emotional about this. You know, Jennifer's husband is a veteran, and quite a few of us, our dads were veterans.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if I'm giving a quilt to somebody who fought in World War II, in my mind, I'm giving this to my dad, and it is very emotional.
Oh, I was there. I saw you guys being emotional also, and it's a wonderful thing to attend. I'm very fortunate to be able to be there to see how that's done, and we love our veterans, like I said, and here the Township building's named after the veterans, and we do everything we can for our veterans here. We actually have a senior housing here for veterans, and so, yeah, it's very, very, very important that we recognize our veterans and what they do. And gosh, what's going on in the world today, it's very scary. But
Yeah, it is.
well, I guess we'll put up on the screen how they can get in touch with you. Everything will be on there for volunteers if you're looking, and the other things, whatever anybody can help out.
Good, that'd be
on there.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
And I'll kind of give you next to the last word.
Basically, let's just support our veterans. They deserve it.
Very, very, very much so. Yes, you're right. You have the last word.
Well, thank you. More than anything, I'd like to thank you for inviting us today to bring, focus on our group as well as veterans. That's really what it's about. Is that this is all our efforts are meant to help recognize and comfort veterans. Thank you.
Well, you do a great job, and bless you for all you're doing.
Thank you.
And Judy and Jennifer, God bless
Thank
you
you.
guys, and thank you for helping our veterans any way you can, and you're doing it. Till next time, everybody, God bless.